Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. So today is the start of a brand new reading vlog. As promised, I am going to be reading A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara for my 1,000 followers celebration. I hit 1,000 followers on Instagram 2 nights ago, and it's very exciting, and I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for coming and supporting this channel and my Instagram. This channel has grown significantly recently. I'm almost at 200 subscribers as we speak. So I figured I really want to read A Little Life, and what better time to force myself to read this giant book than as a gift to you all for coming to my channel and listening to me talk and ramble and all of that. So that is the plan. I'm going to be starting A Little Life today, and today actually I'm going to go out to an arboretum, a local arboretum, and hang out with my boyfriend and my family and look at some flowers and sit and read and all of that fun stuff. So I will bring you along on that adventure, and I will update you as soon as I dive into this and get a feeling of the writing, etc. Oh, also, I just recently wrote an article for Books and Bao, which is a travel and translated literature blog and YouTube channel that I really love. I love all of the recommendations that they put out on their YouTube channel. I use them all the time. So I actually got to write an article for them, and it is books on mothers and motherhood from around the world, and I will link that down below. And that coincided with me hitting 1,000 followers, so I think maybe that helped it along, but I really appreciate the opportunity, and it was so cool to get to write for them. So please check that article out. Without further ado, let's get into the reading vlog. But just as a side note, I know that this is like the saddest book ever, and I wanted to read it because I know that everyone loves the writing and people just absolutely love this book. Like, it has a cult following. But I am slightly afraid because I'm not good with really emotional content, and I'm not great, especially not great with really long books. So we'll see how this goes, but I will try to capture my emotions on camera as best as I can. Hello people, it has been a few days since I have updated you. I got a late start today, but I am trying a new kind of iced coffee. This is, I believe, La Colombe cold brew. So let's see how it goes. That's smooth, oh my god. Wow. I'm not a cold brew person. I tend to only drink iced coffee, and pretty much only the iced coffee from my coffee shop that I work at. But that is pretty damn good, so highly recommend. So as you saw in the last clip, I got to the second part of A Little Life called The Postman, and I actually ended up reading past that section. I got to page 120. So far I'm feeling undertones of sadness, but it's not super intense yet. We're basically just being introduced to each of the characters and starting to understand their relationship. We spent a lot of time with JB, and then we spent more time with Willem, and I will say Willem's backstory is super interesting. I really, really enjoyed hearing about his entire backstory. But we're starting to understand the relationship between the four of them. I will say that the writing, as everyone says, is incredible. It's very descriptive and there's not a lot of plot. It's just focused on describing the characters and getting into their minds and understanding them. And that's something that I really, really enjoy. I feel like I've been reading this book pretty slowly though, just because it is so in depth and there is so much detail, and I feel like I don't want to skim this because with a book that's really plot heavy, I think it's easier to just kind of blow through it because you're just gripped and you keep going. But with a book like this, you really want to like remember the details of each person's life because you know all of that's going to be important as you go through the book and continue on with these people's lives. So I really want to remember, you know, the details of each person's family and each person's life so that I have that going forward into the rest of the book. So I'm reading it relatively slowly, but that's okay. Something sort of interesting happened yesterday relating to A Little Life. Somebody on my Instagram had messaged me like, please be careful with this book. And I was like, don't worry, I'm being careful. And she's like, do you have a support system? Have you read all the trigger warnings? Are you prepared? And I was like, yeah, I am prepared. I've read all of the warnings. I know what I'm getting myself into. And she brought up a good point, though, that a lot of people see this book on Bookstagram or Book Talk or wherever people see the book, and they don't always know what they're getting themselves into, because I feel like the same kind of thing is happening with like The Song of Achilles, for example, where everyone says, oh, this is the saddest book I've ever read. It's so sad, it's so upsetting, read it, and are recommending it. And obviously that book is sad, but it doesn't have the same weight and gravity as something like this, obviously, which discusses real life traumas and events and is not fantasy or mythology or anything like that. So this is not the kind of book that you can just recommend in a blanket statement to like everyone you know, because you don't know what traumas people have and if this book will hurt them. So she brought up a good point, though, of that you can't just like recommend this book to everyone. And she said that she tries to talk to all the people that she sees reading this book and make sure that they know what they're getting themselves into, which was very kind and very sweet. So even though, yes, I do know what I'm getting myself into, it was a nice thought. So the past couple of days have been super busy for me. I worked on Friday and Saturday all day, and the first clip at the Arboretum was Thursday. By the way, I had a great time at the Arboretum. We had so much fun. But yesterday after work, I did a little bit of reading, and then I ended up going to Target. I was looking for sweaters. I didn't find anything I liked, but I did find a book that I had been looking at for a while and just decided to purchase, and that is Trust Exercise by Susan Choi. So I know that Noelle Gallagher read this and was kind of iffy about it, and also my best friend's mom read this and was also kind of iffy about it. But it won the National Book Award, and it sounds like something that's right in my alley. It apparently discusses the structures of sex and power in adulthood, negotiating consent, choosing whom to believe. I don't know, all the themes just sounded like something I would really enjoy, and the cover is constantly like drawing me in and grabbing my attention every time I see it. So it was on sale at Target, so I figured I would pick it up and see if I like it. So the plan today is for me to go to karaoke with a couple of friends, and I'm very excited about it. I haven't done anything like that in like 2 years, so it should be really, really fun. I might take you along with me and get a few clips in there. So my boyfriend will be over, and my best friend's gonna come over, and we're gonna carpool over to karaoke, meet some other people. It should be really fun, but in the meantime, I am probably going to film my August wrap-up and continue reading A Little Life. So I will update you when I have more to say about it. Okay, so I got to page 152, and that is the page where I haven't cried, like I haven't wept yet, and I haven't even like shed a tear, but my eyes prickled, and it's for not necessarily a sad reason, but kind of a sad reason, and it's more of a subtle sad reason, without like giving you too many spoilers. Basically, Harold, who obviously I love, everyone loves Harold, he leapt at Jude, and Jude recoiled and ended up breaking something, and he was so apologetic and he was so upset, and Harold just showed him the utmost kindness. And it's a really small thing, but just the fact that Jude hasn't had the experience of someone showing him genuine kindness for a small mistake that he made. Like that is so beautiful and touching and painful in subtle and nuanced ways, and that made my eyes prickle up with tears. I didn't shed the tears, but they were there in my eyes. So yeah, that is my first little moment of sadness. I am really, really enjoying hearing more about Jude's backstory and his experience with college and his found family. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I will update you in a bit. Hello, I am in between jobs now. I have changed for the library. I'm waiting for my pizza to get out of the oven so that I can shove that in my face before I have to go to my second job. I use this pizza crust. It's delicious. But I did receive a package from the good old Bezos, and I wanted to open it for you because I'm very excited about this. So let's do it. Ta-da! Oh my god, this book is huge. Why is it so big? So I got Felt in the Jaw, which is a collection of short stories by Kristen Arnett, who I have recently become obsessed with. So I'm very, very excited to be reading this book, hopefully soon. But that's it for my mini haul. I'm gonna go eat my pizza now and head off to the library. I've made it to page 200. Not a tear. Okay, you're gonna have to excuse the terrible lighting and the air conditioner noise in the background because it is both hot and late. It is around 10:30 at night, and I usually don't stay up that late, but I was pretty well invested in a low life. So I've finished part 2, The Postman, and I'm now just beginning the Vanities. And I have been rewatching some of my favorite A Little Life reading vlogs, but I've kind of been following along with them. Like, I've only been watching up to the point where they leave off, if that makes any sense. So I've been watching Cats from Paperback Dreams and Noelle Gallagher's, and I'm probably going to watch a few others, but especially those two I've been kind of like going along with the vlog as I'm reading. So I passed the point where Cat cried for the first time, and that was page 221 in the paperback edition. So she cried at page 221. I did not. I still have not shed a tear. I don't know what that says about me, if I'm just heartless or what. I don't know. But I can feel the sadness creeping in. And the thing I've noticed, and I know everyone kind of points this out, is like it's bringing you up to this high and it's inevitably going to crash and burn. I don't know how, because I don't really know any like spoilers for it. I just know that it's going to be sad, but I don't know how. So we're at a place where something really, really wonderful has happened, and I was genuinely reading and smiling. Like, I don't usually emote that much when I read a book, but I was genuinely like grinning my face off because I was so excited for what was happening. And I think it's gonna crash and burn, and that's really sad, and it's probably going to be difficult, but I haven't cried yet, even though I know that there are some serious undertones and themes and traumas that are alluded to, but not really given in detail yet. And I know there's going to be quite a few details. So I'm concerned about feeling nauseous on those details because I tend to get a little queasy with stuff like that, so I'm hoping I don't have a problem. The other thing I kind of wanted to point out is that this book kind of vaguely reminds me of Good Will Hunting in a lot of ways. I love that movie, but the main character in that movie and Jude have I wouldn't say the same pasts because I don't really know all of Jude's past, but they both have trauma in their past, in their childhood, and they find a sort of mentor figure or like fatherly figure. They have a really good group of friends. And it kind of hit a nerve with me because I love that movie so much. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Like, that would be the best thing that I could equate it to in the film world. But yeah, that's just a random thought I had while I was reading. So I'm actually moving through this surprisingly quickly. I thought that it was going to take me longer to get to this point, and I am fully immersed now. Like, I just want to keep reading. I just expected that it was going to be a lot slower, and yeah, it still is like very dense and kind of slow, but I'm getting through it faster than I expected, and I think that's because work has been so busy, especially at the coffee shop, like all summer, and now that it's starting to get cool here in New York, we're kind of winding down on the summerness, and people are not coming into the coffee shop nearly as much, which is bad for business, but it's great for my getting books read, because honestly, in August, I read 4 books, and that is not normal for me. Like, I usually read quite a bit more than that. So I am very happy with the progress I've made so far. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going over to my boyfriend's house for the day. We're gonna just kind of sit and work on stuff together. I'm probably just gonna sit and read this and maybe do some editing, and he's gonna be working on schoolwork because his classes just started. So we're just going to be doing that, and I might end up taking a little bit of a bookshop trip in the morning. So if I do end up doing that, I will take you along with me. So that is the update for tonight. I am going to go to bed now, and I will see you in the morning. Good morning, people. Welcome to my car. So I am outside of my favorite local bookstore waiting for it to open. So I think I'm just going to hit up the local cafe, hang out. I brought a little life with me so that I can read while I am waiting to go into the bookstore. But I thought it would be fun to just do a little book shopping because I haven't really done much of any book shopping in August at all, which I'm proud of, but also there's a couple of books that I definitely want to get and read soon. So I figured I would treat myself and have a nice little fun time at the bookshop today, and I figured it would be fun to take you along with me. So that's the plan. I am going to find a nice spot to sit up and read some more of A Little Life, and I will update you in a bit. Okay, back at it with the balancing act, but I'm back. I got some wonderful iced tea with lavender syrup, which was banger. But I also got a couple of books. I may have gone a little bit crazy, but I did end up ordering a book that's going to get shipped to my house, hopefully in the next few days. So stay tuned for that. I will show you that when it comes in. But it is a book that my friend Marina over at Oddball Reads on Instagram just recently read and highly recommended. So obviously, because her and I have the same reading taste, I'm going to read that one. But I did get a few other exciting books. So I got Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro, translated by Frances Riddle. This is a book that Books and Bao has recommended quite a bit and also got tacked on to the end of my article about books on motherhood. So obviously I have to read this so I know why they added it onto my list. I'm sure it's amazing. So yeah, I love Charco Press. I'm obsessed with them, so I'm sure this will be great. Then I got Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami, translated by Allison Markin Powell. I've heard a lot of good things about this one, and Books and Bao also recommends this one, so obviously I had to give it a try. But yeah, very excited about this one. I got Higher Ground by Anki Stelling, I believe. This one is translated from the German by Lucy Jones, and I've seen this one all over the place, but I read the description on Goodreads a while ago and had it on my TBR on Goodreads and then just came across it in the bookstore, so obviously I picked it up. And then finally, I picked up A Touch of Jen by Beth Morgan, which I have seen everywhere, and yeah, the cover's a little much for the internet, but I've heard that this book is really, really weird and it's about obsession, and it just sounded right up my alley in a lot of ways. This is not a translated one that I know of. No, this is not a translated one, but it's one that I was very excited to get, so I picked this one up, and then a bunch of other translated lit. So that is my haul. I'm gonna head to my boyfriend's now and pick up where I left off with A Little Life. Good morning. It's a new day. I am at the coffee shop. It is Wednesday, September 1st. Oh my gosh, how is summer like pretty much over? I don't know where the time went. But I have just reached part 4, the axiom of equality, and something sad happened. It was frustrating and upsetting. I'm not super emotional over the book yet. I know the axiom of equality starts picking up in terms of the sadness, or at least I've heard that's the case, so we'll see if I end up crying to it. I don't know. So far, it hasn't been nearly as sad as I anticipated it would be, but again, I've been told that there is a lot of buildup and then it gets sad, you know, towards the middle of the book, though Kat from Paperback Dreams cried at page 221, which I did not. So the question is, am I just a stone cold bitch, or is this book not that sad yet? I don't really know. To be honest, I've been getting slightly bored in certain sections. Like, I just at this point want to know more about Jude. I'm beginning to get frustrated at how little we still know about him. Something kind of crazy happened with JB, and that was interesting, but a lot of the minutia of their individual lives and what's happening with Malcolm, what's happening with JB, like, I just don't care that much. And even with Willem, I care more about Willem's like details of his life, but with JB and Malcolm, it's not that interesting, and I'm starting to get a little bit bored. So hopefully it picks up and we get to hear more about Jude, because honestly, that's the person that I care about and what I want to know more about. I'm not saying that I'm having a bad experience reading this, but it's definitely a very slow-paced book, and it doesn't have a plot, which I knew going into it, so I'm not surprised necessarily, but I am a little teeny bit bored. It's so disgusting out. It's just absolutely pouring. Okay, it's almost 8 o'clock at night. I'm about to leave work, and I just wanted to give a very quick update on A Little Life. So I'm at page 446, and I am at chapter 3 of the Axiom of Equality. I just read a description of something really horrifying, and honestly, as I anticipated, my response to that kind of thing is not to cry necessarily. I get this like weird sensation where I'm like squirming, if that makes sense. Like, I'm just squirming in my seat, like I want to like get up and walk around to like get rid of the feeling, I guess. That's the best way I can describe it. So I haven't cried yet. I don't feel particularly sad or like emotional in that way. I just feel kind of grossed out, if that makes any sense. I don't know what that says about me or whatever, but that's just how I'm feeling right now. So I am going to pack up and head home, and I will update you when I have something else to say about this. Good morning, Eli. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It is Thursday. The sun is finally shining again, but this is the first day where it feels like fall vibes. Like I have a fall scented candle going on in the background, and it just feels chilly and that fall is in the air, especially because like all the kids have gone back to school and this is the first fall that I have not gone back to school, which is weird. But it feels like fall, thus I'm wearing my favorite overalls, so fall vibes are in full swing. So here's the deal. Today I'm going to be hanging out with my boyfriend and we're gonna go to a local coffee shop, not the one I work at, but another local coffee shop. And he has some schoolwork to do because he's still in school, so I'm probably going to help him out with that. He's going to work on that, and I'm going to do some editing as well as some work on reading A Little Life. So that is the plan for the day. We might get some food, we might do, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we'll figure it out. But anyway, we're gonna have a nice day together, and before he gets here, I'm gonna do a little bit of filming. I'm going to be reading some of my writing aloud for my Instagram, so I'm gonna film that and try to tidy up my room a little bit. So that's currently the plan. I will probably film a little bit while we're at the coffee shop, and I will see you there. I just filmed the video. Productivity, also Peep the Fit, very cute. All right, that's all I have to say for now. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I am currently making risotto, so I have to continue standing here, stirring my risotto and adding chicken stock to it. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on A Little Life. I made some decent progress yesterday and today. I ended up reading until page 540, which is the start of chapter 2 of the Happy Years, which have not been super happy, but I kind of knew that going into it. And I still have not cried. So I just want to talk about my general thoughts on that. I have been really concerned that I am just incapable of showing emotions about this, which doesn't make any rational sense because I got pretty emotional over the Song of Achilles. I didn't actually end up crying, but I was like weepy about it, which is obviously far less emotionally taxing than this book is. I'm still feeling really grossed out by the whole situation as we're learning more and more things are being revealed to us in Jude's past. I feel like I just keep getting grossed out and uncomfortable, but I haven't really felt the need to cry, and I haven't felt like really sad about it. I've just felt really disgusted about the whole situation. And I'm surprised about that because I usually tend to go towards being sad or having, more sad emotions about things like that. And it turns out that I'm more just frustrated, angry, and disgusted by the whole situation. So that's really interesting. And I also want to mention my frustration with how cyclical it all is and how Jude always ends up right sort of back where he started in a lot of ways, and he makes progress and then he goes back to where he started again. And while I believe that that's more realistic than him just continuing to make, forward progress and momentum, it is frustrating as a reader. And as much as I have empathy and compassion for him, and none of it is his fault at all, it still is frustrating as a reader to kind of end up back where we started again and again and keep seeing him continuing to do the same things and feel the same ways, even though people have shown him that they love him anyway. So yeah, that's my slight frustration with it. I think that's intentional because Hanya Yanagihara is trying to get us into the minds of all of the characters. And I know as much as the other characters love Jude, I think there is a certain level of frustration that they have about the situation. Not necessarily with him, but maybe sort of with him. I mean, definitely Andy gets frustrated with him. And it's a challenging situation to find yourself in, to be that close with a person who hates themselves so much. So yeah, I think Yanagihara's writing is masterful. I'm not bothered by the pretentiousness. I actually kind of like it. I tend to like that kind of writing. But I think the way that she's developing the characters and the relationships and showing us the different aspects of the situation is masterful, and I think it's amazing. But so far, I don't really know if I'm enjoying this book. I feel like I'm appreciative of a lot of the aspects of it, and I think it's really well done, and I think this could be and probably will be a classic of modern literature in the future. But I don't really know that I'm like enjoying reading it, if that makes any sense. So those are my 2 cents for now. I still have not cried, and I will probably finish making my risotto, and then I will get back to reading. Hello, welcome back. It is Saturday, and I made a significant chunk of the way through A Little Life. I am now on page 678, which means I only have this little bit left, which is a pretty huge accomplishment. There was absolutely no one in the library today. Well, there's a few people, but it was a very select few people in the library today. So once I finished my responsibilities, I basically just had the entire day sitting at the desk to read this bad boy. I've gotten to this point, and I definitely want to know what happens, and I keep wanting to read it, and I get really engrossed in the book, and then I don't want to look up or do anything else. So in that sense, it's gripping me. Like I said before, there's certain parts that are kind of boring and frustrating. It's things that I kind of, skim over instead of reading in close detail. But I am still gripped, and I still want to know all of Jude's backstory and everything that happens from now on. I think at this point we know all of his backstory, or at least I hope so, because there's really not that much left. There's a commitment to the book, and that I know I have to finish this book, and I want to finish it because I need to know what happens. But I'm not enjoying the book. So that's a roundabout way of saying I don't really know how I feel about it. I can honestly say at this point, I have no idea how it's going to end. I don't know if the current dynamic of the friends is going to stay the same or if it's going to change from here. I don't know what's going to happen to Jude. I really don't. But as you can probably tell, I'm very tired, so I'm probably going to get some food in me, lay down, and try to get some more of this read. Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, September 5th, and I have finished A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. You saw me finishing this last night. I stayed up kind of late to finish it. I will say yesterday I started at page 500 and something and just went through the end, which is like 813 pages. So quite a bit of reading was done yesterday. I just wanted to give sort of more in-depth thoughts overall, without spoiling anything. First of all, I didn't cry. I made it through A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, and I didn't cry. I don't know how to feel about that, because part of me is like, it is such a almost cultish thing, honestly, as I was mentioning in the beginning of the video, how everyone reads this book and just sobs and makes everyone else read it. And I haven't personally felt pressured to read this by anyone, but it's something I wanted to experience because I wanted to have that understanding going forward. And I was just curious. I wanted to know why everyone cried. The 2 reasons that I can come up with as to why I didn't cry is, one, this book is more uncomfortable and at times shocking than it is sad. I think I just reacted in a different way. I felt uncomfortable. I felt jittery at times, but I didn't feel like crying, except At the end, I did feel like crying, but I didn't end up crying. I definitely felt the heaviness of this book, and it definitely sat with me while I was reading it. I read it over a week and 2 days, I believe, which is a lot shorter of a time than I ever anticipated I would get through this book. Like, my God, was not expecting it to be that quick. From the reaction that everyone has to this book, I really expected all 800 pages to be sad and disturbing and frustrating and all of those emotions. But in reality, there were huge sections of, yes, things were mentioned, and Jude's life is always going to be the way it is. It's always going to be full of pain and suffering. But there are happy moments, and there are long-winded descriptions of other things about the characters' lives that aren't related to the trauma. So a good portion of this book is unrelated to the actual trauma. I mean, obviously Jude's traumas and how they ricochet out into the rest of his friend group are front and center, but there are a lot of things that aren't related to that, and I guess I just wasn't expecting so much other stuff to be going on. Each of the main characters in this book is very well-rounded and well-explored, and it feels like they're real people in a lot of ways. And I think that's something that needed all of the time with the characters and the page count and all of that to feel real. I also just briefly want to talk about the fact that this book did not affect me nearly as much as I thought it would. Yes, it is horrifying in so many ways, and like I said, I felt disgusted so often when reading this book. But it didn't make me emote the way that I expected. And I want to recognize that that comes from a place of great privilege, that I have not had these experiences myself, and I have not had someone I'm really close to have these experiences or anything like these experiences. So I don't have that perspective to bring to the table. I have a totally outside perspective. So it didn't hit me as hard as something I can relate to more. But at the same time, I loved the characters, and I genuinely felt awful for them. I don't want to come across as absolutely cold-hearted or that I just don't care about other people's trauma. That's not the case. I just think that I was expecting more of a reaction and I didn't get it. And honestly, I just think that that is due to my distance from the subject matter. And that's okay. I just wanted to put that out there because this is a book that didn't hurt me, but has and can hurt a lot of other people. And I don't want it to come across like I'm saying, I didn't cry, it's not that bad, just read it anyway, you're not gonna have a problem. Because I don't know what is going to cause you harm and what experiences you're gonna be bringing to this book. So I would not recommend reading this unless you know that it's not going to cause problems for you. I just wanted to put that out there. I think I'm going to rate this book 4 out of 5 stars because I was enthralled while I was reading it in most parts. I think it was beautifully done. I respect it for what it came to do. And the only things I really didn't like about it were the overly lengthy descriptions of the minutiae of the characters' lives, as well as just how descriptive and disgusting a lot of the sections were. So those are my thoughts on A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.